good evening, gamers. I am S. Welcome back to the final rendition of HBF Season 10 PRs. We're finally to Infernal, not on a Saturday for the first time all season. And also, I'm sick, so if my voice sounds weird and or I start coughing a fair bit, blame the congestion. Yes, I'm very good at puns. Anyway, I am here joined with my co-hosts.
Hi, it's me again, Necro. I've made all the PowerPoints, and I'm almost done with this. Yay!
Woo!
Oh, I guess also I should note I am the Infernal admin. So, sorry, Infernal. We've been meaning to do this earlier, but things happen.
I honestly read the PowerPoint wrong, and I thought S's pun was another person, but hey, it's great. I mainly am here to try and make fun of some people's weird choices that we saw, but also I'm looking forward to trying to place everybody. So, yeah.
And I'm Seb. I'm unsure how long I will be here, but I'm here for now.
That's all we can really ask you for. So yes, we are finally doing PRs. Disclaimers, yada yada yada. Y'all should probably know the drill by now, especially if you've watched the previous videos. This is all personal opinion, and for the funny, most of these teams are not even valid anymore because we did not update this with post-grace transactions, and it's the end of week 3. So pay your taxes, stay in school, don't do drugs, and I guess let's move on. We're gonna try to hold ourselves to a 5-minute timer per team this time. And
yes.
Yeah, I've got a watch with me, so let's just start off with our first team. We're also doing these in draft order, and then we're gonna rank them later. So we start off with the Evanston Jetstreams, and we have Double Milotic, which has already shown itself to be very irksome.
Indeed.
Yeah, it's basically this entire team is two really fat snakes plus a bunch of buttons, and I think for that reason I like it.
Yeah, it's interesting being. I don't know if it's fair to call it a 9. I'd almost like to call it a 7-month, but I guess Rotom sometimes is usable and Gradient is okay for the 1 or 2 like ghost matchups, but for being such a top heavy team, it's really strong. I mean, yeah, like you've already mentioned, like Mega Milo and Delta Milo to cover each other like surprisingly well, considering like Delta Milo resists poison and can decently take on most electrics, and you do also have like other decent option for grasses. So you cover Milo's weakness pretty well, and then Milo could just almost rely on neutral bulk for everything else.
Yeah,
the sheer ability of both Milotics to take on a bunch of random nonsense, and then the other mostly 4 guys, I'm really just looking at this top 6 as a unit, can handle much of everything else. This is going to be a Mega Milotic team that wants to click flip turn a lot, which I am saddened by, but it can probably work.
Mm-hmm.
The removal on your double Milotic team is basically just Glimmora Rotom.
Technically, Landorus can fit it on occasion, but not really.
I mean, yeah, when you mention Glimmora Rotom, I'd almost say Landorus is the best removal one out of those, which is also...
It arguably is, which is a bit sad, yeah.
That's very disappointing. Yeah. Mega Milotic generally likes a good hazard clear friend, and Delta Milotic would like to do something other than boots every week.
And also considering there's somehow an even more mon that's reliant on removal being Ogerpop.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest downside of the lack of decent control here, is the fact that Hearthflame is very, very hard to use well when you can only bring it in 4 times.
Yeah, and the other thing that I don't super like about this team is that sure, Gren and Lando can run physical sets, but basically Hearthflame is the physical offense of this team. There isn't really a backup other than exactly those two things. So not a huge fan of that.
True.
Yeah, although still offensively this team is very strong because you have obviously very strong. Even though it's more special leading, it's still a lot of very powerful offensive mons,
Still a
and
lot
you
of
also
good offense, yeah. So it's
and
fine.
and either you force your opponent to click defog with your hazard stack and mainly Glimora, but that is a great hazard stack mon, but also occasionally Lando, and you also and Gren even, and you have Milo to Delta Milo to spin block, so you can either there will be hazards on a lot of hazards on both sides, or it will be no hazards, which
I,
that
I
doesn't
sorry, go ahead.
cover entirely, but it helps with their battle move.
The idea behind causing a hazard war and basically making yourself do a bit more progress with them than your opponent is definitely valid with Gamora. That's why that mon is such a good hyper offense mon, because you get one more hazard than the other person, and then you basically just keep whacking them until they die. I would personally probably put this team in either bottom of I think either bottom of will make playoffs or top of might make playoffs. I think it's right on that borderline.
Shall we look at the type chart quick?
Indeed, we should take a peek at the type chart because we are.
One thing I also quickly saw. Speed is interesting.
Yes.
It's very
Going straight
technical.
from Milo to
Graded. I mean, that gap doesn't matter.
That gap is not particularly
it is
relevant. Also, we are at
Yeah.
450 on the timer, so.
Okay, type chart.
I don't think anything's super.
It looks fine. Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing insanely.
I guess
egregious
the
here.
Ghost Rush being Greedent and Gren is kind of dodgy, but
I mean,
it's
Scarf
not the
Gren
worst.
is completely fine most of the time for ghosts, so it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, just you don't like switching in. Although obviously Delta Milo is pretty good into it.
All right,
Yeah,
well,
this is.
I would put it will make playoffs to those other teams or tiers.
Yeah, that's fine. It has major issues, but also major good points.
It's kind of a slightly more bulky version of something that Necro or Blinn would draft, because it's basically just a bunch of muscle with two things that'll take every hit under the sun, which it'll work well enough if Porpoise can play it, and he usually is good at those kind of styles, so it should be fine.
Oh yeah, Double Milotic is very generalist, which is exactly what this roster is looking for.
all right, let's move on.
Yes.
JKS.
Hey, it's Trick Room. You guys,
Yay.
if you have problems dealing with Trick Room, or potentially even building Trick Room, you should watch the Pastel Orchids Guide to Insurgents Trick Room. Thank you for giving me ample opportunities to plug my content. I am so ready for people to complain about this team, and I just get to swoop in and plug my content.
Yeah, this is just a really well-made Trick Group team. You have four amazing abusers of it, with Melm's Sunfish Starlight Stuckcock, 2 good setters, but you also have both speed outside of Trick Room, and also the Trick Room mons is also great outside of Trick Room. So
Yeah.
I at least for that side of the thing, I don't see an issue with this team.
It has to be piloted in a specific way, but it is exceptionally well made if JKS
Yeah.
can be able to pull it off.
And the thing is, you don't know if you're facing Trick Room or not. You very well could. This team could go hard Trick Room for a week and perform well. It could also go no Trick Room at all and perform well, or a side Trick Room with
Yeah.
maybe you bring just Ukes and Melm specifically made for Trick Room, but the rest can do work for itself.
Yeah, everybody can tango outside of it, which is a very good touch to have on an archetype like this. The speed is not horrendous, which helps. Tornadus T and Terra Ambipom are huge facets of this roster.
I think probably my only nitpick would be the fact that this team does seem pretty knockoff weak for a 4-gun-2 team. Like, their best knock switching is probably the Stunfisk, which isn't a terrible one, but everything else here wants to have his item. So that is one downside, but it's still an extremely good team.
Yeah, and also it's obviously it's not the worst, but like it's a good rocker. But having Gooksy as your only, I'd say, reliable rocker is not ideal.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like I guess technically Megafisk and technically Dogok can run it, but you never should run it on either. Most of the time.
Rocks on Megafisk are possible. On Dog,
yeah,
you're
I
right,
guess.
it's a waste of time.
Yeah, I guess on Megafisk it's like if you only need like stabs and Volt or stabs and Sludge Bomb, it's fine on Megafisk. But
Yeah.
I think
usually
also
Megafisk
there's
just
no-
wants to click damage.
I think also there's no spikes, which granted on a team like this you can tend to outdamage spike usefulness, but it's still always nice to have them.
Technically, Dogok.
Isn't Dogok gets them technically?
That's a waste of time. That is
Oh, yeah,
fraudulent.
yeah.
Do not do that.
Also, trigger
Yeah.
archetypes historically usually don't run spike, because like usually like, you have a team structure in such a way that it's like you have like Uxie to get up rocks, and then you don't really have room for other hazard spam. Everything else is just dedicated to getting up your trick room. So like I personally don't have an issue with that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
As someone who has used a lot of trick room, like in S's video where my trick room team did get mentioned. That was the very funny roster. Anyway,
Removal is also like the hazard game besides Rocker Yuxi is great with like Spin Tentacruel and Defog Torn, which means you're not forced into Defog Torn, and like Spin Cruel is perfectly serviceable. You have slow pivoting with the Paragon Yuxi, fast pivoting with the Torn, and Ambipom.
Yeah.
I honestly, unless something sticks out in the type chart,
sure. I was like, look.
then like I guess like, round week.
Well,
Well, actually,
the thing is,
validate
the
every
ground
ground type
immunities are
ever.
really good. Like,
Oh, yeah.
without the
Yeah,
lack
you see-
corn,
you see-
Uxie,
Oh yeah, you don't care at all.
you do not care at all. That is
Those
fine.
are just about 3 of the best ground checks you could possibly have, so I think
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah, like, what's the timer at?
4:15.
Honestly, yeah. This
Yeah.
team is like
It's a really good team. Like,
It's very good, yeah.
like we could obviously maybe we see a better team, but I doubt it. Like it's rare to have such a good team early on, but like
yeah,
I just don't see any flaws.
there aren't any major issues that I have with it.
Yeah,
it's
Like the
well
issues are
balanced.
very minor, and like the rest of the team just makes up for it.
Also, one thing I do have to add, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this was a pick 2 Stunfisk, which means if you are not drafting the mime, you have to have something this good for us not to make fun of you.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. Like
I mean, there has been some historical precedent of Mega Fist going pick 2. I know it happened actually in Perfection. I think it was either last season or 2 seasons ago. I think it was 2 seasons ago. That like Mega Fist is a good enough Pokemon that it can go. So like I
yeah.
can respect that.
Yeah.
All right,
Let's move on.
let's move
Yeah.
on.
Heck yeah.
All right, Wiki Will.
Finally, we get to the
Weird.
mime team. Why did it take so long?
Yeah, peak 3. I mean, like between Mime and Delta or Mega Milo, it's fine to choose between them. But Mime lasting to peak 3 is it almost never happens.
I mean, we already kind of discussed why that did, so like I don't think there's
Yeah.
dwelling too much on it. But yeah, let's talk about the actual team.
I just don't like this team. I can't even put my finger on why. I just don't like it. Like it does not have enough power. It doesn't really have the kind of bulk you would want, because outside of Audino, it doesn't have a whole ton of ability to just kind of stay around. Like it's like the offense is completely dependent on the top 3. Granted, that's a really good top 3, but like it's just weird.
I mean, you kind of say, but also that top 3 is very strong, and don't underestimate Delta Magmora offensively. Like Mega Launcher with a good special attack, and like it has good enough like typing and bulk that it can, even though it's like kind of slow, it can put those offenses to work.
Yeah.
the one thing that's like probably the worst part for me is like it might be fine, but I don't like the Terra caps.
Oh yeah.
Don't
I
like,
think
like
the was
an
really good
okay
when you have
Terra
a
mod.
certain capability, but when you don't have it, it's just a bit of a waste of a slot for sure.
Yeah, like especially considering like if this is if we HBF was like super low tier Terra, that would be great. But we have so many better options.
Can you
That-
Terra Klefki in this league?
Terra Klefki.
I think Delmas and are better than Terra Klefki.
Okay, that's fair.
I literally have Terra Klefki.
Oh, I'm so good at this game.
But either way, yeah, that's probably would be my major issue with it.
I mean, my issue with that is why is the Klefki here? Period.
Yeah,
feel
I
like
guess-
the Klefki does not belong at this team, because like for me, Klefki belongs on like very like HO adjacent styles of play, and this team is too much weird fat for that. Like, I feel like the Klefki here should be like a better bulkmon, basically, with the
Yeah, that's true. Like you're
better
still
pivot.
yeah.
like something along that line.
Oh yeah, this team does. I guess there's Electros for slow pivoting like Moth, and I guess the pivoting's like.
It's like
Iron.
you already have a Steel and Magmortar. You already have a Fairy and Mine. Like, what is
Both
the
of those
Klefki
are
doing
fake
here?
defensively, but
I mean, I
So is
get
Klefki.
getting like a second Steel and or Fairy with those, but like, I don't know if Klefki is the one I would have chosen.
Klefki is fake on both of those fronts.
that is fair.
I mean, yeah.
That is a lot of fake defensive options.
But having like double Steel and double Fairy, I guess, kind of helps for that.
I
Eh,
don't
Yeah,
it's a little bit wonky.
but yeah, I think the team's fine. I definitely see
It's like
It's just really that
okay, but like it's
like top 3 and like to their
good.
bring top 6 as a it's far from some of the other good cores we've seen, but it's still like a decent core to bring, or like top 5 plus random shitter. Like,
Yeah.
it's not the best, but it's still like pretty like you would not like seeing in the preview.
Probably goes and might win a game.
Well, let's
Oh,
take
here,
a
let's
peek at
take
the
a
type
quick
chart
chart.
first. We're also at 347. We're getting real good at this.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
I don't see any huge glaring issues in
Yeah,
the chart.
Nothing
So-
particularly
Those are fine.
bad.
Yeah.
Let's just do this then.
I don't think it's. I personally have it in might make playoffs. Like
I
top
would probably put it towards the bottom of Mike Make playoffs. Is
That
kind of
seems
what I'm
reasonable.
thinking.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, we'll
Like-
put it there for now. We can adjust later if needed.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Zohan.
It's a. This has so many slow, I'm going to absolutely murder you Pokemon. And then the rest of it is also here.
Yeah.
This is Delta Scyther plus Rune Gross, therefore I'm happy.
Although their speed being a mon that uses weather and a Cyclozar is pretty dog shit.
Okay, that is fair. That is very fair.
It is very bad.
I also personally am not a huge fan of Slowking with Scyther as the like snow setter, because I feel like with Scyther specifically, because you almost always like need a lot of turns of snow and like getting the opportunity to specifically get in Slowking, and you want Scyther to be like a late game cleaner, and I find that getting the timing with Slowking to be able to late game clean with Scyther is kind of hard. Personally, I tried it once, didn't like it, but
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. This team is like it feels like half stall, half HO. Like
kinda, yeah.
Clods, like Cloaking is like fine as a Cloaking can fit on both, but like why is the Clodsire here? I don't like usually you find on like super defensive teams. I guess this team is defensive enough with like Cloaking, Vespiquen, Slowking. Like Clodsire, Vespiquen, Slowking, but it's not like super fat compared to some of the other teams we've seen, or it's coming up. And it's also the offense is good, but it's like super leaning into physical offense.
Yeah,
And a
Xerxes
certain-
is the only special attacker.
Yeah. So like, I don't hate it, but I like the issues with like both. Mode, but
I think you're cutting out, Zeb.
You are indeed.
Okay, so that wasn't just me again.
hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. What was the last thing I said?
I don't know. I got distracted, but I started hearing random noises.
Okay, basically, it has bad speed and a trick room mode, but not a good one. It's like Slowking Great Setter is a great abuser, but when it's the only good trick room abuser, I don't like it.
Against certain archetypes, Ruin Gross is not a horrible abuser.
I guess. It's mainly just like
enough, but...
if you had a better trick room core to make up for the bad like top speed, I could see it, but this has bad or mediocre slow mode and a mediocre fast mode.
It is also astounding how you managed to get 3 Pokemon slower than Vespiquen.
Oh yeah,
impressive. Yeah, that takes effort.
Speaking of impressive, we're at 740, so balls.
Oh.
Okay, Ultimate Bomb.
Type
Type
chart.
chart.
Is there anything bad? Fighters. When most of your offense is
Or
weak
is
to
this?
fighters, but the team's held together by Slowking, so that's
Yeah. All right,
kind of
let's
just
just play.
what you signed up for.
I feel like I feel like the high end still make it into might just or might like I feel like it's similar to the other team.
You want to put it above or below?
I don't care.
I'll just put it below.
Let's put it below.
Yeah.
That'll work.
All right, moving on.
Oh boy.
Yep.
And we have Bajram and the Cringe.
Okay. What can I even say about this roster? They've gotten to pull Mega Jirachi out in a game, which was funny.
That was kind of sick. Yeah. Because for those who don't know, if you Mega into Zoroark and you're as disguised as a Mon that has a Mega form, it shows up as the Mega.
Oh yeah. But yeah, yeah. Even like, again, we've said this before. When you draft cringe team, if you draft a good team, it's boring. But I can get like previously, I remember like the seal of having like only Mega Milo, but like a super stacked team, so it's running it. But this team's not that. Like
Yeah.
it's not a bad team, but it feels like there's a Darkanine, then just a bunch of mid tiers. That's this team.
Yeah, it's exceptionally mid. Also, having item locked Pokemon be your only thing over 100, and having the 2 things at 100 be basically pixies, is not ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess like webs help a little bit, but also not too much.
So on that point as well, why would this person see both Rotom Heat and Vikavolt and choose Terra the Rotom Heat? Like Terra Vikavolt's significantly better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
Vika actually has Rival recovery.
also and like Rotom Heat's typing is naturally better,
That too.
Yeah.
so it doesn't need to like it likes the resistance that fire brings.
Yeah.
Another thing that just to be honest, it's not actually too itself. It's just there's 3 Levitate mons on this team, which and a Gliscor, which I mean,
very worried about ground.
yeah.
So yeah, if you bring Scarf Earthquake on this team, you're an idiot. To be frank.
Yeah. There's a lot of removal and a lot of hazards. I guess make up for the pretty bad initial damage output. But even then, it like all your removal is defog aside from Quack, which can run spin but doesn't like to. And like when Quack's your main offensive mon, like I just don't get this team.
Yeah, Quack's going to be forced to run Bander Scarf a lot, which is something it can definitely do, but if you're also trying to use it as a spinner on top of that, it's just not going to work.
Yeah. Like, the only good part about this team is that most weeks you don't know what mons are coming besides Stark 9, just because like everything is on the same level. So like it doesn't matter if you miss out on like Vika or Rotom. Both of them are like similarly mid. Like this is decent mons, but like I just don't get it.
It's weird for sure.
Like the peak 2 Gliscor when it cannot Terra and then the peak 3 Stargates, I guess it's like fine, but please just get some more offense. Get some. This team just wants more high tiers.
Yeah.
I honestly do think
this
if
is
that
mid in the literal sense of the word.
I honestly do think that if that Gliscor was either Lando, this team would be quite a bit better.
It's just where are all the good Pokemon?
Yeah. And like it's a decently bulky team, but it's not actually that fat. And like only Gliscor and occasionally Roche has longevity.
Yeah.
Okay,
and even then,
Shaman
and it's not even like that offensive.
Vikavolt does. Quackavolt does.
Shaman does.
Yeah.
Quack doesn't. I guess it's fine with and Vika's like fine, but Vika's not very bulky.
Okay,
So like,
I am forgetting. I am the only person who would reasonably run fat Quackavolt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and yeah, like, it has recovery, but doesn't have like fat recovery besides Gliscor basically. And Roche can run Wish, but this team wants Roche to do a lot and often be offensive to do stuff or Scarf, and that means it cannot be fat. Wish.
Yeah, especially with a 100 to 125 speed gap, where the 125 mon is often trying to bluff its actual speed stat.
And the other one also doesn't like running speed.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
that's even more of a problem. Why is your
The
team
speed
so
gap
slow?
is kind of a big. The speed is definitely an issue because like your top speed functionally doesn't exist.
Yeah, alrighty, we are at 452. Let's take a peek at this type chart.
Type chart.
That is
I don't
It's
know.
fine.
decidedly...
It's fine.
Okay, yep.
Okay. Placement.
It's functional enough to might win a game, but it could also be to the depths.
I want to put it in...
To the depths?
Probably to
Like
the depths.
it's a functional team. Like it has the quote unquote draft checklists, but it's still like where all the good mons is like the perfect way to describe the team.
It loses a tier by being cringe. Put it in the depths.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cringe,
True, I forgot. Yeah.
Alright. Katrina.
Just
Oh,
The
yes,
actual
this.
hell was the point of drafting a Zapdos on its own team? Like,
I
that
don't
makes
know.
no sense.
I guess Weather Ball.
You do get.
But-
You already have Heat Wave.
Oh yeah, true.
But you spam Hurricane with Zapdos. That's one of the main reasons it's good.
Oh, true.
And-
You are having your Hurricane accuracy. That's not great.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
now you can run Air Cutter.
Yeah.
Which I don't think it gets Air Slash. I know
It does
it
not.
didn't get it for like a long time, and I don't think it got in like one of the new gens.
That's one of the main reasons it getting Hurricane was such a humongous buff was because before it got that, it only got Air Cutter.
Oh yeah.
I will note though that Diltimus Magius on Sun is really cool because Diltimus Magius with Weather Ball is like as a way to break.
Oh yeah.
That
is
is
really
fair.
cool. Like
Yeah, like-
that I do like.
Besides the Zapdos Sun, I really like it because it is a weather team, but it's not like super aligned on weather.
Yeah.
Like you have like Tusk or Delta, Aurora's Moon, even Typhlosion, all can function outside of weather. It's just, I mean, it's mainly the Zapdos pick. That's just like
Zapdos
feels
is
weird.
kinda anti-synergy, but the rest of the team is solid.
Yeah.
It's not really fair. You can bring top 4 plus Moon and then just fill that slot with whatever is the least shit, and it'll function as a fairly decent team, as I think Necro said.
Yeah.
But yeah, the bird is the main weird pick here for a team that likes to run Sun on occasion, because you're forcing it to basically run Heat Wave T-Bolt, which is something that it can do, but if a Zapdos can't Hurricane, then all of a sudden its damage becomes a lot worse.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like maybe this team like drived it for being like bulky Zapdos, but even then, bulky Zapdos still likes Hurricane because like
Yeah.
Hurricane's damage output on bulky Zapdos is still very strong.
And also the primary issue is Zapdos to begin with is that it's setup fodder for a lot of mons that can Terra into a type that beats it. And so without Hurricane being able to hit any of those mons even somewhat decently, you can't do any damage and they're even more setup fodder than you already were.
I mean, the main Terra to check Zapdos is Electric, and Heatwave is stronger than Hurricane or Weather Ball, so that's actually less of an issue than usual.
Yeah, true.
It's more just just general setup into like Hurricane Zapdos against like the strongest damage.
Yeah, true.
But besides the Zapdos, which I feel we've talked a lot about,
Yeah.
I still like the rest of the team is like very. It's very similar to like a Sky team we saw that we ranked top. It is slightly worse, just because Zapdos is not as good.
Zapdos
Yeah.
is weird on the
And-
roster. Pecharunt is weird on the roster.
Yeah. Although
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how if Mega Typhlosion can put in work in Sun, because I feel like I rarely see Typhlosion do well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
this
it
was
lacks coverage.
very much the wrong Typhlosion for doing the Epic Gaming thing.
Also, one thing to point out that we'll see when we go to the type chart is that their mono rock resist great test. Granted, that's fine for the most part, but like that's still not the greatest place to be. So
Yeah.
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 There is There's some side. I mean, like
I think we've.
another. Wait, does Dagron gets rocks, right?
Yes, it does.
Still, the hazards are not ideal when
Okay.
you don't want to bring aggro every game, especially if you want Hurricane Zapdos, and then you don't want to rocks Tusk. So hazards on this team is really bad.
Yeah.
Like
Also,
like obviously you want hazards off because you have like Tusk and Zapdos, and you have a lot of monsters that like pivoting, so you want to have a hazardless game, but also it would be nice to like at least threaten hazards in return, other than aggro, which fine rocker, but like you don't want to bring aggro in every game.
Yeah. Alright, let's play some.
Heck yeah, woo! And,
Even though we like feel like we talked about a lot of negative, I still feel like it's in will, just because like how strong the Suncore and the initial monster are.
yeah, I would put it right below
It's gonna-
Porpoise because it is. I think Porpoise's team is more complete, but there's still enough good here where it does earn its spot and will.
Yeah.
I guess.
Like even if you remove aggro, the team is still really strong. It's just it has a good Sun mode, but also that comes at the cost of Zapdos performing well.
yeah, this team is just 8 good Pokemon, and also Mega Typhlosion.
Got him. Alright, let's play.
Let's-
Alright, Terra's game.
And now we get to this. We have another bad Mega Evolution.
Oh.
Why
Oh,
is
yeah,
the
we-
offense on this team screamed out?
Okay,
you say?
it's Mega Frostlass, boss. The special attacker's Mega Frostlass.
Oh yeah. Yeah. DC might be the most physical team. Oh no, it's the special ones are Boomburst Palafin and Power Gem Meowscarada.
Hell yeah, woo!
Because literally all they needed to make this team significantly better was just like drop one of the months for Ether Fundy. And if they did that, that would just make this team a lot stronger.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a Thunder, just a good special attacker that's not Frostlass.
Yeah.
Like, we've done a lot of Frostlass hate. I think it's still like
It is
pretty
pretty reasonable.
I think it's like fine.
I don't really. Oh wait, I was about to say something dumb. Never mind. Let's.
So we all kind of universally enjoy Godel because that mon is good, and it's
True.
like that mon is good. But as a secondary Terra captain, I think Godel is amazing. But having Screen Tail as your primary Terra captain is pretty dog shit.
Yeah. Terra Screamtail is pretty mid.
Yeah, like it's fine because like Psychic Fairy is just kind of a mid-defensive typing, so Terrain to like Water or Pure Fairy or Steel or whatever is nice. But yeah, I agree that like Screamtail is still just gonna be like a fat utility wall. That doesn't change how Screamtail works. It's just I guess it makes it like wall a few other months that it couldn't wall before. But
I mean, unless they're actually bringing offensive Screamtail, you Terra normal Boom Burst.
yeah.
Or like Terra Fire, Mystical Fire for steals.
And it has Fire Blast. Yeah.
Oh yeah, whatever. Terra Fire.
But yeah, even then, we cannot underestimate just how strong the top four, or the like, Palfin Meow Gouging is like every Paldex user's wet dream when it comes to physical offense, and still holds up a lot very well in Insurgents. It's just this team would have liked to have a special threat as well.
Yeah.
And also, to be fair, the primary downside that most people bring up when you talk about teams that are too physical is the fact that they're kind of burn fodder. But gouging and Metagross as your primary switch-ins to being burned isn't terrible.
Yeah.
Although obviously you won't want to switch Metagross into most monsters that it can burn is also a fire type or has fire moves.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But still, your defensive core is strong. Like Registeel, Screamtail, Growl is good. The offensive core is nice. Like you have decent pivoting. Although I don't like. I'm pretty sure the only favorite resist is Fortress, and the only removal.
That's a Registeel.
Oh, never mind. Okay, I forgot. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the only removal Fortress?
And Tentacle Smile.
Oh god, yeah. Like this team's removal is kind of dog shit.
On a Mega Frostlass team, yeah, that's
and on a Mega Frostlass, and also 2 fire types that can run boots, but would like to be able to have different types, and also like most weeks you're probably forced into Terra Poison, Screamtail, or Groddle, just because like T-Spugs into this team is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the removal is Fortress Tentacool.
Yeah, and I guess it helps that again you have similar to Purpose team. This team has, and even better, it has insane hazard setters, Spider, and you have plenty of alternatives. So Spider doesn't have to be a rocker, but just a special attacker and better removal would make this team so much better.
Especially if it's trying to hazard stack on other people into a gouging clean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like every PR we've had a lot of Fortress can work if it's like the secondary removal to a main removal mon. But as the only removal, it's just dog shit.
Nah, it is the secondary removal to the main removal mod, Tentacool.
Oh, true, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we should put this
Alright,
somewhere. I've been lacking on the timer.
Ghosts is an issue? Question? Oh, flying. Ooh.
Oh, so apparently people don't draft rock resists again.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah, the rock resist is...
It's Groddle.
Godel.
That is a rock
yeah,
resist.
Okay, that's...
Granted,
But
it's Terra,
flying
but
is a problem.
Flying is a problem.
Like, you want to, like, get a better steel type and, like...
Also, the ghost resist is Meowscarada.
True.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he has a fine offensive ghost check, but it's not a Shadow Ball switch-in.
Yeah. Like, you have, like, okay neutral bulk mons like Registeel and, like, Screamtail or Groddle after Terra, but you're gonna be forced into Terraing them a lot, which means you also lose, like, the good initial typing of the mons, or at least Groddle. And I love Groddle, but you don't want Blank Groddle defensively. It's mostly just a good like final mon to wall a specific threat. You don't want that be your entire defensive piece, which it kind of is here. When you struggle with so many types.
All right, where are we putting this?
Feels like right, but maybe top of might.
I think that's very reasonable.
I think it's very easy to fix the team, but the flaws are just very big. Like no flying resist, no good removal, no special attack, or like.
Again, if they just got Thunderous, this team would be fine.
Yeah, or even like drop Frostlass, drop Fortress, and get like a better Steel and a better. Is Cord available? Maybe not anymore, but
I don't know.
something in the middle of that.
I'm 99% sure it's not because of a team that I saw
Oh yeah, true.
later, but
Okay. Let's move on. All right, Ivy.
Again, speaking of beat by ghosts, the ghost check is Tauros, and that's it.
Yeah.
Because pre-Mega Eevee does not count. Umbreon does not count.
so it's kind of interesting to see the difference between Infernal and the complete bottom div, because the main thing that Abyssal struggles with is drafting good Pokemon in a decent setting. The main thing that Infernal struggles with is drafting type resist. Like, we've had something to complain about on that front on basically every team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, you'll notice that the vast majority of the comments are talking about how this stack attacker right here, this should be Terra, because Terra stack attacker is cracked.
It's really good.
Oh yeah, because I mean it's expensive, but it's worth it. And also, the 2 tear caps is also like kind of very bad. Like
They're both. Yeah.
Yeah, like Tauros would be fine as like a random low tier if you had like good Terra Capture line. Like if your main Terra Cap was stacked, Tauros is like a fine like 10th mon. But like Terra Dendrocruel is fine if you have a better main option. But as your main options, that's just bad.
It's mid. Yeah, it's very mid.
Yeah. And like on the proposal side, like hazards are pretty good, like Mesper Cliff Lando. Removal is not amazing, but it's decent with Sis Lando.
Yeah.
You have like decent speed option with you have a good speed with like Sepal Eevee. Taurus is kind of fake. Same with Tentacruel, but still like Sepal Eevee is pretty good. You have like you obviously have priority with Scissor. You have like Lando can be like catch all. You have decent teams, but kind of like just make stack a Terra. That helps so much here.
It would be a lot better. The team would be a lot better immediately with that big of a threat.
That is correct. Very
Yeah.
much so.
Like I like the Mon, but honestly, I don't think you need Mesprit here.
I think that's what I was thinking. Is like you get rid of the Tauros, you make stack a Terra, and then like
get a ghost check. Get a ghost check for the
get a ghost check and get a flying check.
Oh yeah.
The flying
That's
check
honestly
can
more
kind
important
of
than the
be
ghost check.
Stacka, though.
Yeah, but if you're Terra Stacker, you don't want to be switching in on anything ever.
That's fair.
Yeah, you want to come
Terra
in.
Stacker's job is to sit in the back and give off a threatening aura.
Yeah.
All right, I think we pretty well talked about this. Let's look at the chart.
Indeed.
I mean, we already mentioned the flying being the big issue, and then also the ghost,
The ghost
being the big
is
issue.
a bit of an
Because
issue.
both of these immunities are fake.
Yeah.
Ground, I think, was fine-ish. I mean, Lando T is a very good ground resist, so, like, it's fine.
Lando T is a very good, but after pick 2, all of the good Pokemon just stop existing.
Yeah. Alright.
Even Scizor. I am a Scizor enjoyer, but it is not as good of a Pokemon as you're looking for on this roster without very many good Pokemon.
And they seem like I feel like it lacks a lot of initial power.
Do not
Maybe
sleep
feel like
on
it's
Band
bottom
and Stack
of
Attacker.
Say again.
Do not sleep on Choice Band Stack Attacker. That is immediate power.
Yeah, I don't think that's show. like again, I feel like it's similar. A lot of teams have like a decent bolt line, decent offense, but nothing outstanding on either end, and like it's not bulky enough to like be a super fat team. It's not like offensive enough to like be super strong. Like it has decent on both sides, but again, like nothing here makes me like super scared to face the team offensively.
That is fair.
Yeah.
And also, like this doesn't feel like it's going to be super hard to break. Like the bolt line's mainly like Clefable, Scissor, Lando, which is like fine, pretty decent, but you would like to have some offensive pieces to help support them.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. Okay,
Indeed.
Geek Yogurt.
They finally stopped lacking on the stopwatch, so we're getting there. All right.
Speaking of offensive ones you don't like switching into, here they are.
Indeed.
Like maybe more especially than physically, but like Shandy Blood Moon is like those two together is gonna be extremely scared to face, and like Real Sneasler is like a tried and tested combo. It's decent, and you have like the threat of Unburden, but you also have to respect just a regular Scarf or Ban Sneasler. And Ufi, I don't know about you. I don't think I've seen Ufi do a while, but it's for sure something to like you have to prep for a lot.
It's a good team. The speed, as S was about to say, is not the best, but there is a lot of muscle here for sure.
Yeah, and you have like only two real defensive mons, but they form like a decent Empole and Glagor form like a decent backbone, and both are pivoting to get in your big threats.
Yeah.
That helps.
Also, I think like Blood Moon, Boom, UFI can all function in a bulkier pivot role.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Yeah. I feel like this team just wants Blood Moon to just click Blood Moon to weaken the special check for Shandy to like, either sweep or to go ahead.
I do feel like if Creech doesn't bring at least one choice band or choice specs any given week, he's piloting the team wrong.
Yeah, I agree.
Pretty much.
Like, this team has, I guess, both of the like main defensive pieces relying on both having hazard size, but also both of them relying on defog on the Rillaboom team. It's kind of, especially when is every single mon on this team besides Gligar really wants terrain to be up to weaken EQ mainly, but also to get recovery. And then you have her on defog for removal is kind of annoying here.
Yeah.
And the Terra Caps again. I feel like the Empoleon just wants to states typing usually.
Yeah. I don't know about Terra Empoleon. Terra does the Duosion as a secondary Terra, I think it's fine.
Yeah, and I also don't know if Pidgeot is a good mono or not. It's threatening on paper, but it's
Yeah.
like the damage output is like decent, but nothing special. Maybe I've just not seen it do enough, but I just feel like it's kind of meh.
Yeah.
Anything on the type chart?
Let's take a look. Ooh. Ground and ice.
And water, surprisingly?
Yeah.
Yeah, this team really kind of relies on
and Shandy. And Empoleon is a very good ice resist, but
Until it stops being an ice resist.
especially if you Terra out of being set
Yeah.
ice resist, that could be a bit of a problem.
Yeah, and also again, you have like three of your top four that you're most likely bring to, or like 4 of your top 6 that you're most likely bring to most games, is ground weak. You're super reliant on a Rillaboom to regain EQ, and if you face a special ground, yikes.
Also,
Yeah.
as I said earlier when we were going through the process of getting ready for this, the fact that your only real ground resist is weak to Ice Spinner, and said move Ice Spinner takes away the one thing that Mon really likes, is annoying for this team.
Yeah, and also your main ground resist being a Gligar, which feels like an extremely mediocre mon. Like it can work and do so, but it's not. It feels like they're fairly easy for a lot of mons to beat or to check.
Yeah. But yeah, Sap Super Delta Metacham, like, unironically kind of annihilates this team.
Yeah.
But then
True.
it's not the scary part of being a Delta Metacham.
I mean, it could still be Columbine.
But then it's not the scary part of being a Delta Metacham.
You know, the other point, this team gets 6-0'd by Lando Eye.
Oh yeah. It really does.
A Gligar. Yeah. What does Lando
Sub.
Eye do to a Gligar?
It subs and then clicks Psychic.
It gets Ice Fanged.
Okay, I forgot Gligar gets that. I mean,
I understand where you're coming from,
the
but
only check to Lando Eye.
This team has tools.
To be entirely fair to add on to that point as well, Lando Eye in Gen 9 got a very cool move called Master Plot, which means Gligar isn't really a check.
That is fair. Also, we're at 606. So...
Oh yeah, true.
Okay.
Yeah, we've already acknowledged that the type chart's kind of fraudulent.
So
where does this go?
I feel like it's bottom of Will or top of Might. I think it's probably Will. I feel like it has more synergy than the other teams in Might playoffs. Like, it has flaws, but it still, like, I feel like the team works better as a unit.
Yeah.
And it has a lot of mons to be scared. It's not just like a bunch of mid like a few of the other teams.
Yeah.
Okay, move on.
Arrow.
Oh,
So,
the 3-0 team.
So, a very small backstory before we actually rate the team. Me and Zeb have known Arrow for about 2.5 to 3 years, and for whatever reason, this guy drops a pound on nearly every draft. We have no idea why. It's just kind of a thing he does. And yeah, I think outside of that, the team's pretty good, but I have no idea why the Hippo's here.
And all, Hippo in itself is fine. It's more like, well, the biggest issue I see is your removal is Scyther Latios. That's bad. That's very bad. And like Hippo Pharaoh Pex, amazing defensive core, even though it's an awesome defensive core, but it's still a good one. All of them don't like dealing with spikes.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to run boots Hippo, boots Pex. You can run it, but it feels kind of bad when both of them also often switch into knock. Like, this team can very easily get hazard stacked, and then the good defense kind of falls apart.
True.
Yeah.
Spikes are a bit of a nightmare for this team for sure.
Yeah. Like, it has good initial bulk, good and good offensive. It has like good offensive mode, like Lottie, Sarah, Mega B Sharp. It feels like this team doesn't have a tier, but it helps that it has still a lot of good mons, even though like round 1 Latios in 2024 in Insurgents is a choice of all time, but
yes,
it's certainly one of the decisions that's ever been made.
Yeah. So this team, it is worth noting this team is borderline cringe because their third Delta is an Aeron.
It's basically cringe by proxy, honestly.
It's all but cringe.
Yeah.
They also didn't draft Delta number 2 until round 8 Spider-Matang.
Yeah. Like this feels like a very mid Natix team that you just slapped a bishop, make a bishop on.
Yeah.
Like the speed is like I guess it's all like if you want a speed gap, it's fine to have there, but look at the speed gap from Annihilate to Spider Metang.
Oh yeah.
And none of the mons after Annihilate wants to run speed. So that's kind of a yikes, but not the biggest deal, but
Annihilate is like enough of a threat that people have to at least respect no speed Annihilate when they're speed creeping. So like,
I guess yeah.
so that's something.
But yeah, if this team just had better removal, it would be so much better.
It's a problem, sure.
Like if you ever have to be forced into running Defog Gladios or Defog Scyther, that just makes both of the mons so much worse. Like, I have no idea why the Metang Spider is here, other than just making the team more cringe.
Yeah. Because like this isn't a team that really super benefits from webs. It's not a team that like really. Yeah, I don't know what's here. You already have a T-Spiker and Pax. You already have two rockers.
Like the only other thing is, I guess, like technically it's slow pivoting, which is the main thing holding back the defensive core here. None of them can they can like manually switch, but none of them can like actually pivot into your big threats. All your pivoting is like you have a lot of pivoting, but all of it's just off.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, they have a lot of pivoting? It's Latios, Annihilate, Zera... Okay, Latios, Annihilate, Zera, Scyther is kind of... okay.
Yeah, like offensive pivoting, that's good.
But then this team is going to get into a little bind/clusterfuck where Hippowdon, Ferrothorn, and Toxapex are going to have to, like, just dance around for a bit. For 10,000 years, and there's no way for you to really get out of that cycle if you ever get backfooted.
Yeah, and also this team kind of this team does not like sand.
True.
Yeah.
Like it's not the worst because like obviously you never run. And like Hippo would probably like to stay in for a few turns on this team, but like you have Hera and like Pex barely cares, but it's still not ideal when you have nothing either to take advantage of the sand, and also none. You also have a lot of mods that just don't like being chipped, like Gladios and like an Annihilate.
Yeah, this is like basically gonna have to be Sand Force Hippo, which like isn't the worst thing in the world, but like.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely you can run stream, but
it is definitely a waste of points to have a Hippowdon and have nothing to use the sand.
Yeah, and even doesn't have to be something to use the sand. Even just some mons that like don't mind sand.
Yeah.
But you have several mons that don't like the sand at all.
Yeah. All right, let's look at the time chart.
Some more nonsense.
No, this doesn't look egregiously bad on paper, at least. Wait, what's the dark resist?
It's Bisharp.
Oh, the dark resist is Mega Bitch.
It could be worse.
Also, I also just realized, I guess like Hippo Pharaoh can kind of neutral bulk it, but also, yikes the ground matchup. Your immunities are Latios, Scyther. And the resist is Metang.
It's Spider Tang, yeah.
That is not good at all.
Oh yeah, setup rounds are a huge problem for this team. Like SD Guard Chomp kind of just destroys you.
Yeah, like Hippo can to a point check some of them, but also like pairing an offensive ground with spikes against this team is kind of a yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zygarde with DD would go fucking bananas into this team.
Indeed.
Fortunately, that mod sucks. Anyway.
Anyway, where are we putting this?
As the big fan of big chonkers that I am, I like this a lot. But I also recognize that the 3 chonkers will not take you everywhere you want to go. But this is Infernal, so they might just...
Oh yeah, honestly, if you said this was an S team, I honestly wouldn't be that surprised. Like, you have the random
Is
Sarah,
there
you
a
have...
R on it?
yeah, and you have the big feathers, and yeah. Actually, it makes too much sense type-wise. Like, S, you likes like doubling up on, like, either lacks a lot of money, doubles up on a lot of types.
Yes.
But
I see this being bottom of well, potentially.
yeah.
It has enough upsides, like enough offense and enough bulk that like it's not
I guess.
horrendous.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's obviously like top market, bottom of whale. Yeah, I guess that's fine. It just has to rely on piloting, which
Yeah,
is not ideal, but can work.
yeah. It is a skill expression kind of team.
I do think Arrow's one of the better players in the div, but like, it'll definitely come down to how he plays it.
Okay, let's move on. Okay, so now we have Ben's team. Maybe slight asterisk. He just kind of exploded his team, but we will be rating the original.
Yeah. Like, for a Darkness team, I'm not sure. I mean, you have, like, the requisite Darkness ones in Typhlosion, Rose Red, Spirit Tomb.
And Evire.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if it's good, but I think it's fun. It's like,
yeah.
It's probably well, it just got blown up, but the initial team looks like it would be like fun to see how it does. Like, it's very hard to dark. Like, this is just like a darkness, like super Darkness team, but it's still like, for a Darkness team, it's very threatening.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Although, I mean, the water being I love Delta Hexers. It's very. I love the Mon. It being the water on a Darkness team is kind of weird, but also I guess it is nice as being like the big physical breaker when you have like Typhlosion and Rose Red as like the special threats. I don't mind
this
it.
roster just does not have bulk. There is no bulk on this roster.
It is Donphan, Scrafty, and that's basically.
Yeah.
And I guess Spiritomb can get away with some stuff.
And Camera kind of sort of counts sometimes.
No.
But not really.
No. And this, I guess, obviously you have you had two months in Darkness, so the speed helped, but this is still surprisingly initially slow team for how for frail it is. Yeah. But obviously, like, double Darkness where Sweepers helps in that.
Right. The revenge capacity of this team is definitely much higher than its initial speed tiers suggest.
Yeah. And you also have decent priority as well. Mainly Delta Hexers, but that's still, and then like Sucker Tomb.
Yeah.
So you have ways of getting around it, but it's mainly like for a Darkness team, it's pretty good, but it still has a few flaws, and also, and as you put, the Delta Scrafty is kind of weird. Like, to be honest, the bottom 4 is just kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's very much there and not in a good way.
Yeah, like, I feel like this.
I think, to be fair, that is most of what got blown up, but anyway.
and also just the hazard game in general is not ideal. Like
Yeah,
you're mainly relying almost entirely on Dunfan, which
pretty much.
good removal and can be an okay rocker, but not both at the same time. And also, you don't want to bring it every game.
Yeah.
And then if you don't bring it, then you don't have hazard game, which is kind of not great.
Yeah, that's kind of.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick look. Sure.
I mean,
Ground matchup has been the yikes.
Also, of just a fun fact of this team, it has gotten nuked so hard that it is now a quad weather roster.
Wait, what's the fourth?
So it has Spiritom's Darkness, Galarian Slowking's Snow, Polytoad's Rain, and Ninetales' Sun.
Oh, I didn't know it
Is
had
it
Ninetales.
Ninetales now?
It has a
Jesus,
Ninetales on it
okay.
as well. It is quad weather.
Oh my lord. Okay. That is wild. Alrighty.
Yeah. Where do we rank the initial team?
This is Insurgent's Darkness, but it's so not good.
It's not optimal. Yeah.
It doesn't even look that good. Like, this is...
Yeah.
I am not scared of this roster more than I... Like, it's Insurgent's Darkness. Yes, you hit the baseline. But it didn't go any higher than the baseline. It almost feels lower than the baseline because there's no good backup plan here. This is hard darkness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like most Darkness teams, unless you only have, like... Unless the team is, like, only Tomb, Rose Raid, Mega Taif as the Darkness core, I feel like most Darkness teams are, like, Darkness. But I feel like, or, like, I guess I read that, like, the other mons on the team are just, like, very mediocre.
Yeah.
For the most part. Like, this is a very hard... For a Darkness team, it has like it has the top 5 Darkness mons, but it also lacks both a backup plan and also lacks, I guess, it lacks a lot of major roles, like mainly just both pivoting and also
Pivoting is a big thing.
and hazards.
Yeah, and the hazards. Yeah, those are both a yikes. For sure.
Yeah, so I feel like on the back of stuff, it could almost move to might win a game, but you could argue the opposite of, like, because Darkness is so initially threatening, not actually making the most out of it makes it deserve might win a game.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
Okay, let's move on. We have Wombo and the team that is Mono Deltas.
And the Mono Deltas team that looks like it's going to do the exact same as every Mono Deltas team ever. And by that, I mean 3-6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Mono Delta just is not generally viable.
Yeah, like...
If you're competing with every other person for all the deltas, so, like, usually if you're trying to get mono deltas, you're ending up getting a bunch of awkward random stuff. Like,
yeah. That you could argue, like, the entire bottom 5 is, like, very
yeah.
Like, you didn't get them for a specific role, you got them because they're Delta mons.
I mean, the Rising is important here because it's removal. For
Yeah,
the
I'm talking... Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess.
Like, that's one of the things I noticed immediately is that for a Mega Flygon team, like, I mean, as we always say, Deltas are allergic to removal. So, Mono Delta to support a Flygon is hard. And, like...
Yeah, like, you basically, you hope you are able to get Davalog, but this doesn't have it, which means it relies on Raichu and Driftblim, which is...
Yeah, Driftblim as a defogger is not particularly great. Like, Raichu's, like, okay-ish as removal, but, like, it's so frail that it's gonna just die.
Yeah. And also, I don't get why there's both a Regis and Torterra here. I guess Torterra was just here because it was probably the best. Probably the best like ground left, but
Yeah,
like
because it was that or Delta Gudra, and I think the Delta Gudra went round 5, so I think it was still available to them. But like,
I get wanting Torterra just for like the dual hazard.
if you want it for that as a hazard monitor, Torterra's a lot better than Gudra for that role.
Yeah, and to be fair, it's also a lot better physically. Both Regis and, or maybe not real than Regis, but it is better physically than Regis and.
Right. Since you already have Regis, which Gudra is better Spadaf wall than it is a physical wall. So.
Yeah. But yeah, we have, besides the awkward removal, the speed is decent, but not like amazing considering like I don't know if Raichu and Scolipede are real ones.
Yeah, it's basically Flygon drop down to Darm.
And then also, the offense is like it's good, but because all of the high power deltas go round 1, and your round 1 pick was Delta Regis, it means your offense is almost entirely your top 2 and occasionally Golduck.
Yeah,
I guess Golduck is like a very good with guts,
solid.
but still having that be like 3 months to rely on offensively, and they're very good offensively, but they're also compared to other teams, they're not like that good.
Yeah. Anyone else have anything else to say?
Like his type chart.
Yeah, I was looking at the type chart. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, there's one psychic immunity. It is where's the Dark?
That's right.
Darm.
No.
Oh,
Darmis.
That's a yikes. There's no ghost resist at all.
Although getting no ghost weakness is surprisingly well done, but also no.
I mean, there is also no weakness, so that's something.
But yeah, like it is fun to mono delta teams, but they usually don't perform well for a reason. It's just too hard to make a good delta team when so many others are hard gun for the good deltas, which means you get stuck with like when you look at this team and just see like the bottom 5, it's just a bunch of random cheaters almost. Like it's fun to pick like 1 or 2 of them and like have them pop off in a game or 2, but when your entire team is like that, that's kind of awkward.
Yeah. Slightly random side note, this is one of the best ice matchups I think I've ever seen.
Fair enough.
Huh.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Where are we putting that? I think it's probably like either here or very bottom of might make playoffs. Or are we putting it in the depths?
I think it's might win a game. It's not like that bad.
Yeah.
We don't want a base team in the same tier as a cringe team.
True.
Okay, that's true. That's very true. Yeah. Because it is based, we will for sure put it in might win the game.
Yeah, it might win.
Okay.
Okay, moving on. Alright, Ace Jake.
Woo. It's got
I think
some
any
real
team
good
that
Pokemon.
abuses the fact that Chien Pao is the best priority spammer in the game is a good team, and this is one team that does that.
Oh yeah, this is priority of the team.
It
Your
is indeed.
Blaziken, Bolt, and Pow. No, and I get even technically Hitmontop.
Yeah, him on top like spamming priority too.
Yeah,
I mean, these days it's usually just like a bulk mod, but
Yeah.
yeah.
still.
I mean, like there's some problems with the team, namely the fact that they're basically using like the Neferwolves core for bulk approach, which is just like, hey, here's 3 really fast things. Let's hope they can check everything. But like, it's strong enough where it will probably work fine.
I feel like the hazard game in general is kind of mediocre. Like removal is Florges, Hitmontop, which is like not, and like And the setters are Cooperaja, Ogrepon, I guess Hydreigon, which is also not terrible, but also not great either. Like Hydreigon usually don't want to fit rocks. Cooperaja, or as I like to call it, Cooperaja, because it's kind of just Coopmon.
Yeah.
And like I feel like the team. Oh, I guess Frostless. I think does it get hazardous as well?
Frostless does get rocks and spikes, I believe.
But again, it's like
but
you don't want
to get up Frostless.
Like your moveset is kind of almost set for like it is like Fire Dance, Eruption, Shadow Ball coverage.
Pretty much.
So like the offense is strong with top 3 Frostless, Bolt, and even Terrablaskin. It will be like hard to weather an assault, but this team does kind of. If Floor just like is not able to handle a Mon defensively, this team is extremely easy to break through.
Yeah.
I would have to say Bolt will help with that a little, but yeah, in general, Forgus is the main backbone of the team.
Yeah, and it's
like,
fine.
As a bulk line, when it doesn't have any recovery, is a bit of yikes. It's like it's hoping to receive wishes from Florges is its recovery plan.
So like it's not the worst thing. Like you have some. I guess like even like Hydreigon has like okay bulk with Roost or whatever it gets.
It gets Roost.
It's not the worst, but it's when you're like relying so much on a floor, just of all things, defensively, like not amazing. Like, top 7 is still a good core that it will still be strong most weeks, but it's definitely gonna have to rely on power.
Yeah.
To revenge the opponent. Like to be fair, it's hard to out offense POW, but if you're able to do it, then this team can really struggle.
Yeah.
And the pivot to get POW in, actually Bolt is fine.
I was thinking about that too, but it's like really most of this team actually can pivot in POW.
Yeah, I guess.
Hit on top basically.
And the main problem is since you probably want to bring Florges most weeks, you also want to run a lot of moves. Obviously, you need Defog, you need Moonblast, then you want Defog, you want Baton Pass, you kind of also want Wish.
Yeah.
And at least have Synthesis. You want Toxic. Like Florges is very overtaxed here to have to force to do a lot. It helps that it has Terra to change types to check some stuff, but it's this teaming relied on Florges. Not a thing I thought I'd see.
Yeah.
This roster has 6 great Pokemon, the top 5 and Mega Delta Frostlass. However, those 6 great Pokemon just don't fill the holes that it needs to be an actually functional roster, so you have to undergo some pretty heavy opportunity costs to bring either your one reasonable defensive option or your removal or anything of that sort, really. Or your steal as well. So it's just, if only you could bring all the good Pokemon. There are a lot of good Pokemon, but you can't bring all of them, because you kind of want to be not... You kind of want to cover all your bases.
Yeah.
And I think on the defense or the
chart.
Type chart grounds are a problem when your switch-ins are Blaziken and
Ogerpon.
Oh, yeah, that's not super great.
Ghost is also a problem when they're. I guess I can guess fine. I guess. As a ghost sensor.
Yeah, I believe in Kangaskhan. For the one time it matters, I believe in Kangaskhan.
I guess.
You also have one of the best ghosts in the format on your roster.
True.
And also one of the best ghost killers.
That is also true.
Yes.
So it's not the worst, but it's just not ideal.
Alright, where are we putting it?
How have we not had a shoe-in for playoffs yet?
Huh.
I don't know. We've just felt the teams have been kind of mid.
I mean, Infernal is one of the mid divs. So
Infernal is the definition of mid.
Yeah.
At
I
least
feel like this team
Abyssal you
is
can
like-
laugh about because Abyssal
I
is
feel like
Abyssal.
this team is in the middle of might. Or bottom of might, maybe.
So you were thinking like here-ish.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's move on. Fennec Master.
Oh boy.
We have the
it's
rain team.
Insurgents
Yay, rain
Reign.
team.
There's always one in every division.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's a rain.
I mean, yeah, like it's fairly like most of it is standard. Although Moltres Bundle is something I don't, or especially Bundle is something I rarely see in raid. And to be fair, it's really nice for getting the natural speed and not having to rely on weather for
Yeah.
their speed.
Yeah, I don't
In
hate
that
the
sense, I
bundle
think it's good. Well, yeah, I think it's good. I just rarely see it. Although it makes you even more reliant on, because now you kill everything if you try to roll even more. But also if you miss, that sucks even more because obviously it's a rain team. It's always going to be like fairly offensive. So like, to the bulk lane for a rain team is not too bad. Like Venus, like superior tank growth, occasionally Moltres. It's like surprisingly good on array for a rain team, but also it's the offense is it's just rain with like few niche picks. I don't feel like there's too much to say here.
The one thing that I don't like about this is that the only other physical offense other than the Dragonite is the Overquill, and the Overquill isn't Terra. So, like...
Yeah.
Why is there a Typhoid on this team?
I don't know.
It's not even the good Typhoid.
Well, the good time potion was already gone by the time they got to bed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He got taken round 1.
Yeah, by the Darkness roster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're going to draft Darkness, that is usually the round one that you take, to be fair. So, like...
Yeah, that's fair.
It's mainly just... Also, actually, fine. Moltres Serp is good removal. Moltres on rain feel... If there's a fire type that's good on rain, besides like Volcanion, then Moltres is probably one of the better choices.
Yeah, I mean, because you can get to click the Hurricanes, you have Weather Ball as an option for...
Yeah, and also, like, Moltres is strong enough that some of the mons that can, like, try to, like, some of the, like, grasses that try to resist Fire Blast just get burned by a Hurricane, and some of the, like, the steels still don't like taking it, just because it's a Moltres.
Plus, it has Scorching Sands for Steel still, so...
No, yeah, fucking Neutral Fire Blast is still stronger, but yeah.
I mean, it probably is, but, like, it also Scorching Sands doesn't miss, so...
Oh, yeah.
Trade-offs. I mean, yeah. I don't know. There isn't really that much to say. It's Insurgents Reign.
It's Insurgents Reign. There isn't that much to say. Easily our fastest section.
Let's see.
Ground problem.
Ground matchup. A lot of teams are weak to ground and ghost. Like, Overcloud is...
I mean, yeah.
And the ground matchup is Moltres and... Let's see the ground system. Megadia.
Okay, that's kind of a...
Yeah, Tangrowth. I would count Tangrowth as a physical ground resist anyway.
It's an earthquake resistance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's enough neutral bulk here that's probably fine.
And to be fair, it's a rain team against groups. I think you can handle them pretty well offensively.
Oh yeah, offensively,
There's 3 water types, so...
Yeah, I think you're probably... Okay, let's put it on. Sure.
It's definitely either... Is this good enough for Shuin, or is it Will?
I think it's definitely at least towards the top of Will. Because, like, it's in rain made competently enough that, like, it's going to do well.
I feel like I want to put it in Shuin, but mainly because of the other teams. Like, in the higher divs, I don't think this would be in Shuin, but for Infernal, I think, like, considering how mid a lot of the teams we've seen, I think it's like good enough to be insured.
I think that this is clearly better than a lot of the other teams that we've looked at. So I think
Yeah.
it is worth
Like it has a very like compared to a lot of the other teams are like kind of just like a random monster thrown together. This is a very very distinct game plan. It has obviously it's in rain and it has enough like different options in rain to it's not. It's hard rain, but it's not as reliant on rain as like the weather team, the darkness team is.
Yeah, like the bundle actually specifically helps a lot with differentiating on that front.
Yeah,
It gives them something to do outside, like it gives them a non-rain reliant speed mod, which is huge.
Yeah. And obviously also Serp is like so much better than.
Yes, there is.
So like rain is a lot easier to keep rain up than keep darkness up.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. All right, Darv presenting Insurgent Semi-Stall.
No, it's not semi. It's just stall. Yeah, I guess I like Sam. Golden Go Turbos can be offensive, and there's
an Enamorous.
I guess yeah, but it's such a bulky team that, and like from what I remember, Darv likes running bulky Golden Go. So this is just stall with a few like random mods slapped on to make you feel like it has all.
Yeah.
I guess it has. The one thing I'm noticing, why is this team's best physical attacker Regirock?
I'm sorry, have you not heard the truth that is Belly Drum Chestnut?
And to be fair, there is an Arcanine there as well.
Yeah, it's like Banded Arcanine can be a thing, but like it's not meant to be a thing on this roster.
Yeah, and also if you want an offensive fire, just get. If you want an offensive fire, just get Entei or Harkonine.
Yeah.
It's even though like the Vulcan is obviously very insanely strong, mainly Redrock's Chansey, but also like Vulcan Golden Go, Bill Tank is here as well. Chestnut, I guess. Harkonine would probably be bulky, but it's also kind of like a weird bulk line in that it's like why is both Chansey and Miltank on this team? Like what is Miltank doing here? I'm
not.
Like why does it 3 normal types? It's something I'm curious on. I know Chance is terrible, but still, like,
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of monsters just, what are they doing here?
Yeah, and like also Terabagos being the only removal on what is functionally a stall team is not great.
Yeah, like it's Terabagos great removal on offensive teams, and
Not good.
Yeah, and I guess this is not full stall. It has enough offensive mons that you can put a fairly offensive roster, but we've seen Dark play and we've seen like just this will be more defensive, more weak than offensive, and also in that case, just hazard stacking this team, forcing Terapagos to spin early, then it struggles to do it again later in the game. Could make this like fairly bulky team just fall apart.
Yeah.
In previous games that this team has played, it does seem like it is a boot spam roster.
Yeah, but yeah.
But, like at the same time, if you know you're playing stall, you're gonna be spamming knockoff like there's no tomorrow.
Fair enough.
And also, would you not like to have the option of not running boot spam?
That is true.
Like, I guess, like, Regirock can run boots, Arcan obviously loves running it, Terapagos likes running it, but you want to have weeks where you run other stuff. Like, and also, and also the no poison thing is just
Yeah.
like
T-Spikes goes kind of crazy for this team if you have like a decent knockoff mon. Like
yeah. Like, this team can go boost them and kind of ignore hazards, but also it would be nice to have the option of not doing that and not having to like run super bulky Trapagos and let Trapagos actually be an offensive threat. Because if you have to run bulky Trapagos to try and like remove, then it's not scary offensively, and that means that this team is even stall.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also,
Okay.
yeah. But is there a spike on this team?
Chestnut?
Oh, true. I forgot Chestnut. Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, type chart. This will be interesting. That's a very polarizing ghost matchup.
I think we have found the answer for why there's 3 Darfa.
Yeah. Also, the dark.
The dark matchup is also really bad.
What's the other Pharisees other than it's Chestnut and Enamorous.
Enamorous, Chestnut. Yeah, Enamorous is not a very good dark resist. Chestnut is not a very good special dark resist.
Yeah, that's not great. You have obviously a lot of chance. You have a great neutral bulk, but still.
And you do a Terra Chansey, which is Terra Fairy, obviously. So like.
Yeah.
That's something, but.
But yeah, also speaking of like we said, like knock spam. You have Regirock's a good knock absorber, but if it gets knocked, then it gets loses boots and gets ravaged by hazards, which is not ideal.
Yeah.
So where do we rank the team?
Yeah, I think it's time to.
The team, I mean, it. Even though I don't think the team's necessarily that bad, I feel like it deserves might win a game.
Yeah, I think it's definitely towards the top of might win a game, but
like I get like it might actually be better than like some of them might make playoffs, but it's just there's nothing about the team that I actually like.
Yeah,
like the bulk core is good, but it's also like when it's the bulk core gets ravaged by hazards and forced to run boots, that kind of stops it. And when the offensive core is entirely special, there is not a single physical monster on this team. Everything is special or prefers defensive sets.
I will give you this, pilot of this roster. Gutsy Calm, I look forward to seeing how you do with it. But if you're going to go this route, cover the bases that need covering, which this team does not.
Yeah.
Alright, let's move on. Orange Soda.
Round 4 Coco is
Indeed.
interesting.
Yeah, the fact it fell that far.
And also, the top 3 of the top 4 picks being Electrics is just...
Yeah. Oh, I saw a round 3 Road of Wash here. That is very interesting. Like, why was the Road of Wash taken before the Coco? Like, I know that you're near the wheel, but like, why?
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind that. Just like, even though they share time, I feel like we're a good pivoting option for Gallade and Chomp. It's mainly just this team has a lot of good mons, but it feels like very like
Disjoints.
It's like the perfect red free.
Yeah.
It has like the top 3 is like starting to form like a good standard core, but then I feel like he saw Coco still available and just randomly went for that and leaves, and then he tried to throw in a Mandibus to like cover it defensively. But yeah, doesn't really work. Like Mandibus, good defensive, decent neutral check, but it's also very easy to overwhelm Mandibus, and without it, this team's only defensive one is like Rotom and Kufa sometimes Ryun, but Ryun is also has a ton of weaknesses and likes being more offensive.
Yeah.
like the top like 4 column of like Chomp, Coco, Leaves, Glade can. Some teams will just not be able to handle that offensively, but it still just it just feels like two teams slapped together. Is what this feels like.
Yeah. And I don't really like that the only other roster on this team for guard, other than Garchomp, is Delta Reuniclus. It's like, you don't really want Chomp to be forced into a hazard role constantly, but like on this team it feels like it is.
Yeah.
You also don't want to have to bring Delta Reuniclus.
Yeah,
Actually, no, there's a third rocker. Big Wiggles.
Oh, true. How can I forget Big
Big
Wiggle?
Wiggle.
Yeah, that reminds me. These teams. Actually, I forgot Coco's fair. I was supposed to say these teams Dragon dicey, but it's still not ideal. But I guess Coco helps to make it like Dragons not be as scary if it was just Wiggles and Fagrigas.
Yeah.
And like, this team can still work. It's gonna be like hard to when we have like 2 entirely separate modes, and it doesn't feel like they like really help each other much.
I'm sorry, what's the second mode? I know one of them is electric terrain. What's the other?
Oh, that's just standard. They're just like relying like Chomp, Glade offensively.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
I mean, just like standard, and then the terrain mode.
Yeah.
Like it can probably still perform because there's a lot of team. It just I feel like this is very much had a planned team in mind, but then saw Coco was still available and just went for it.
That is true.
Which honestly, I can almost respect it. I just feel like it was not the best decision when you already have Glade.
Yeah.
As like the offensive. You have Glade as the offensive electric. You have Rotom as the pivoting electric.
Yeah.
I'm curious on the type chart.
Yeah, let's look.
It's surprisingly not fraudulent in the face of grounds. Good job.
It actually isn't awful.
It is surprisingly fraudulent in the face of fairies,
Fairy. Yeah, that's...
Okay. Let's see, because the fairy resists Delta Cover Creeks.
Oh god, that's...
So,
especially when your only real defensive mod is weak to fairy, so... oh god, Valiant into this team.
Oh no!
Good thing we haven't seen the Iron Valiant yet. Wink.
Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, like Mega Delta Champ versus this team is just like the X button.
Oh, that's pain.
Yeah. The only positive is you have fast monster revenge, but switching into fairies is just you don't.
Oh, Scarf
Second
Delta
one.
Shandy.
Oh,
Yeah.
Shandy also just kind of deletes this team. Yeah.
Like, even though it feels weird, I feel like this team would like having Terramandibus to like just check the like. I like Hitmonlee. It has a nice boost in now having an SD and CC. It's a fun mon, but I feel like you'd rather just not have it here.
Yeah, I think Terraing Mandy instead could potentially be a lot
Yeah.
better.
Yeah,
I
this
don't think they
team
can
has
afford it
not
though.
been
Have both
changed.
Leaves and Mandy Terran, but
Oh yeah, probably not. Yeah.
okay.
Either Terramandi or just get a better bulk line than Kofa Gregas.
Yeah. All right. Let's.
Again, either feels like top of wheel or bottom of might.
Why are all of
I
the
feel like-
Infernal teams bad? Why are all of the Infernal teams mid, I should say?
Yeah.
Like I feel like the Sky and the Perfection was a lot of mid, but Sky and Perfection mid was a lot better than Infernal mid.
I think the offense in this team might be good enough to push through the defensive issues, so I'll put it for now at the bottom of.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's fine. Like even though it feels disjointed, the top 5 or even top offensively, or aside from Rotom, is good enough that it will win a decent amount of games just through offensive pressure.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. 2 teams left. All right, Zach Parrott.
You know the thing we say about, draft Mew without and draft it like you don't have a Mew? This team did the opposite. This team wants to run every Mew set under the sun every single week.
Yeah, this team is not a good Mew skeleton at all. It
Like,
really
it
isn't.
wants Hazard's Mew, it wants bulky pivot Mew, it wants offensive setup Mew. Like,
Yeah.
it wants
It wants-
all of those things at the same time. Which
Mew is like the hazards and the special offense of this team all at once, and it's like it cannot do both of those things at the same time.
and the pivoting. Like, I guess
Oh, true,
Weezing,
this team doesn't pivot either. Yeah,
I guess
like,
like Weezing,
Cinderace, flop. And
like offensive pivoting was fun, but like, yeah,
I guess Grafire.
yeah, that's pivoting. Like, I just don't.
Why is it Terra on this roster?
Probably like
Does that do anything?
probably the only one that they could afford to tear to Sinsha.
I guess, but like you drafted an extra Pokemon. Could you just not get something better instead?
Yeah,
You just have solo Terra Sinistra?
especially when you look at the Ghost matchup this team has.
Here we have to flip to the type chart quick.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
that is a yikes. That is a big yikes. What is the resist?
Grafire! That's why
Oh,
the
no.
Grafire is there.
Oh my god.
When the Dark type is Delta Mungus and you have 2 Psychic types.
Yeah. Yeah, when your top 2 are both weak to Ghost, that's a yikes. That is a yikes, my god.
I guess it helps Sinistra tear us away, and Sinistra is a good Terra Cap. Like, if the team was better overall, I wouldn't mind Sinistra Grafire as the Terra Caps. It's just, why Grafire when Grafire would be fine if you had like a much better secondary Ghost resist, but is the only one that's a yikes.
That is a yeah.
Like, you've all said like the special offense is like Mew Grudo. This team is kind of special. None of them actually good breakers most of the time. Like Gudra's like decent, like AV, like this, like a brawler that can like take a lot of hits and like deal with offensive ones back. But everything else is either setup reliant or prefers defensives. It's like Weezing can be decent offensively, but when your best like Spexmon is Weezing, that's
Yeah. Not great.
and offensively, like Cinderace and Lob are both decent breakers, but both of them are more like in the cleaner and pivoting role than actually breaking stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah.
Sorry, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I'm thinking.
No. All right. Let's very briefly look to the type chart. But
Oh, ground! It didn't even see ground.
ground, yeah, is also a bit of an oof.
I guess.
Thing and Sinistra, which isn't horrific. But
Yeah, I guess that's not as bad. And one of them is super because there's a Delta, the Delta Brock.
Yeah,
That is not real.
that is true. Okay, let's place this.
I feel like it's in my to win a game.
I think so. Yeah.
All the teams are so mid.
Where do we put it within,
Probably maybe along like the better part of it.
Like air.
Sure.
Kind of.
Yeah, that's fine.
Barely.
Sure.
Sure.
Let's move on.
Okay, last team.
But
So, somehow, you may have noticed as we've gone through the entirety of this of these PRs that Valiant and Dragapult had not been drafted yet. So the entire division decided to gift Aaron with 2 of the best mons, period, and the same team.
Yeah, like just because of those 2, this team was already on an amazing start, and then you supported extremely well with like Corv and Mola, great slow pivots. Or Gren to help out like offensively. You have Mug is also just like a great defensive mon. You kind of rely on both Pult and Valiant offensively, but when you have those 2 and you have both of them, that's just kind of insane.
Yeah, but sort of in the breadth of what you said, like, yes, this team's offense funnels through Pult and Valiant, but it's a Pult and Valiant, so it's fine.
It is indeed fine. And like Muck is the only rocker is kind of like, but you do have Gren spikes as an additional hazard pressure, so like that's not super egregious.
Yeah.
And like Corv as your main removal is also completely fine. It is one of the best defoggers, period. So
yeah,
like,
probably the best defog.
Yeah.
Aside from maybe Torn.
Yeah. Like it's very good removal.
Yeah, like this team will just most weeks just be switch into the designated wall, pivot into Valiant and Pult, and just kill stuff and do that every week.
Basically, this team comes down to how well can Aaron use Valiant and Pult. If he can use them well, then he's going to like absolutely decimate everyone. If he can't, then this team might struggle because it is, as we said, the offense is very reliant on those 2.
Yeah, but if you want your offense to be reliant on mons, those 2 are pretty good mons to be reliant on.
Yeah, like again, it is a skill check, but it's a very soft skill check.
Yeah. Defensively, anything to note? Oh, I do notice one thing. When we see both in here, but also when we look at the top chart, the major thing holding it back defensively, the Ghost matchup. Again, every single team
have Ghost resist.
At least the only positive, this team has the Dragapult.
True.
Oh god, how well will Dragapult do into every team when we've seen so many mediocre.
Dragapult is going to go insane and face against the entire division.
Yeah, but yeah, even then, still you don't have a Ghost resist on this team that's real.
Yeah, Kamala is okay into some, but like, yeah, it's a little bit of a yikes. I mean, Mola Corv Muck has like enough neutral bulk that like it's not egregiously bad, but
it is still kind of a yikes.
It is indeed a yikes, but because you have the good Ghost, it's less of a yikes.
Also the Valiant being the dark resist.
Yeah.
Again, you have like good neutral bulk to cover, and you don't have like a big dark weakness, but still, I feel like you'd rather want like a more defensive or just like a pure dark than mellow magic.
Yeah.
With that being your dark type is kind of an issue here on this team.
Infernal Magic, though, I think is kind of an interesting Pokemon that's underexplored. So I am interested to see what.
Yeah, the mon itself is good at just either with like another mon or like an addition dark type.
Yeah, like having a secondary dark here, I think would definitely be.
Although I think we've seen it trade away, but that's besides the point.
Oh, right. Anyway, let's rank the team. Dude. I mean, surely it's at least here.
Oh yeah, it's the only question is
it going to Brazil?
Yeah,
I think yes.
I think that
you want to quickly look back on the top team.
Sure. Okay, so we'll tentatively put that there.
Yeah, that's
we have to go
number
all
2.
the way back.
Oh.
All the way back. Oh, I went past it. Okay, here we go. I think it's worse than this team, but I could see it being in the same tiers.
Yeah. Like this team is, I think this team synergizes more. Like every single mon has a like, specific besides
Miss Revis, but anyway.
But also having Pult Torn, no, having Pult Valiant does make it. So I think both can be chew in.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, they both can be top.
All right, yeah,
We could have two teams going to Brazil.
Yeah, I think that's fine. But yeah, this is definitely one of the more mid-centric tier lists I think we've ever made.
What the
it's
fuck?
Three
Infernal?
teams above average, 5 teams below average, and then everything else is just mid.
Yeah. I mean, Infernal is probably the most mid of the divisions, but
Yeah.
like they have most of them are more competent than Abyssal, which has like a big skill gap where some teams are just good and some teams are woeful. But even then, it's just if there ever was a word to describe mid, it would be in this team or this PRs.
Yes. All right. Unless we want to change anything around in the tier list, I think we are pretty well done here.
In that case, I think we're ready to wrap this recording up.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on this grand adventure of HBF Season 10 PRs. And thank you, Infernal coaches, for tolerating the coughing noises throughout your power rankings. That will... Yeah, there might be content at some other point. I might be making something. I don't know how to do outros. This is incredible.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Later, nerds.